Aside from the Golden Tour, the southern coast of Iceland is among the most popular trips to do in Iceland. Firstly, because it's accessible, it leaves from the capital city. And second, because it's nice. On it, you get to see the endless black beaches, the towering cliffs and mountains, and the snowy volcanic peaks. Provided the weather's good. You can do this as a one-day tour, which spans this area here, but we did a two-day tour, which went further, and in my opinion is worth doing because this area here was my favourite spot, and was the highlight of our entire 4-day holiday. So the first thing you'll want to decide is which side of the coach you'll sit. On the way out, sit on the left, on the way back, the right. This lets you view inland to all of the cliffs and the interesting bits, which are continually changing. The other side of the coach will view the beaches, which are still great and all that, but quickly get samey. The first stretch of the journey is the mountains, as you pass the Hellisheiði geothermal power station and the pipes that are used to heat the city. So this is the third largest geothermal power plant in the world, and as if that wasn't enough green for you, it also has a carbon capture device that extracts CO2 from the air and turns it into blocks, or into these things which look suspiciously like bricks. There you go, proof that carbon capture is more than just hot air. It can be hot bricks also. Eventually we passed the highlands and descended down into this town. I thought this was a gorgeous view down into what's known as Earthquake Town or the Hot Spring Town, and when there's lots of geothermal activity going on here, this area can be almost entirely shrouded in steamy looking clouds. Eventually we crossed a bridge to Selfoss, but there's this lone Christmas tree on an island. Apparently it's common for towns in Iceland to spring up around bridges and other large construction projects, since the builders of these things needed somewhere to stay and then were like, hey, why don't we just live here permanently instead? And after that, we headed into this area here. I'm normally pretty good at reading maps and at identifying which volcanoes and peaks we're looking at, but there are so many here that I eventually just gave up and considered this whole region to be volcano land. So the first proper stop on the tour is at these waterfalls situated exactly here. This one is called Seljalandsfoss, and it is possible to walk right around to the cave behind it. When we were there, it was right on the cusp between being too slippery and it being okay to do. It seemed to be open from the other side, but we didn't do it. Instead, we took pictures from the front of it and then skirted around the cliffs of the volcano to see the other waterfalls, which are sprinkled around. This one's only a few minutes from the main one, and I was all excited about this one, wondering what on earth was going on here, only to discover it was just a hole in a pipe. Then there was this one here, and the last one we got to was one of the most interesting. It's a waterfall that you can only get to through a thin crack in the cliff in front of it. Looks like the people doing this got really wet, so we were happy just to stand back and to take pictures of it from here instead. So with these stops, you're always against the clock. Our tour guide gave us half an hour here, and to reach the hidden waterfall requires walking this far from the main one. On the way back, we had just enough time to walk up the steps to overlook the main waterfall, which was definitely worth doing. Next, we skirted around the edge of Eyjafjallajökull. This is the one that erupted in 2010 and grounded flights across Europe for about a week. There are some brave farms dotted about these parts. One of them planted a row of trees just behind his property, because I guess if the volcano does erupt, then every little bit helps. Next was the Skógafoss Waterfall. This one was very large and very impressive, and very wet. With the 30 minutes we had here, we had a comfortable amount of time to enjoy and to walk about the bottom of it, or just enough time to race up to the top as well. So of course we climbed to the top, up some surprisingly wobbly staircases. You don't get a great view of the falls from here, nor is any one direction particularly impressive. It's all just pleasant. I think my favourite view was looking the other way towards the direction we'd be heading to next anyway. Look, there's CSGO's map D Basalt right there. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's essential that you climb these stairs, the most impressive bit is from the bottom. Though this is also the route that hikers will take who intend to climb further up the volcanoes and the ice peaks either side. And then it was onto the famous Reynisfjara black sand beach. And this place is nice for several reasons. Firstly, just look at it. Secondly, it's got these basalt columns. When lava cools, it can naturally form a six-sided hexagonal shape. This beach also has these shallow but impressive looking caves. And the last thing about this place is that everything's really, really big. The cliff towers up above you, and I don't know how tall these are exactly because even OS Maps doesn't have precise measurements for this location. But unless a giant hauls you up, trying to climb these would be inconceivable. And then out at sea are the famous Reynisfjara sea stacks. And these are 66 meters tall. That makes these waves here quite big. Why am I showing you two different sets of sea stacks, I hear you cry? But I'm not. These bizarre things look completely different from either side of the cliff it's jutting out from. From the black sand beach it looks like just two structures, but from the other it looks more like two trolls hauling a ship back to their cave. An above view picture of this spot shows what's actually going on here. And looking back the other way is also really impressive. The beach stretches on for miles, and at the end is a huge arch that fans of Counter-Strike will be familiar with. So this beach is infamous for being really, really dangerous. The water quickly becomes very deep, meaning that freak waves come out of nowhere and wash away unsuspecting tourists. The first wave pulls them over, and then the second washes them out. Don't worry, the guides will tell you horror stories about it, before they then set you free to repeat the same mistakes for yourself. You'll find plenty of videos online of people getting knocked over by waves on this beach. I didn't see any sneaker waves, but even normal ones were enough to get some shoes wet. To avoid this, firstly, don't play chicken with the ocean. And second, don't forget that the sea exists. It sounds silly, but I saw it happening. The waves will still be there even if you're facing away from them. And some people get so carried away trying to take the perfect picture of the cliffs that they're stepping back and back and back, and before they know it, a wave has come up behind them and soaked their shoes. Which itself, I think, is a fate worse than death. So stay alert and don't get too close. And don't die. I mean, this guide online recommends you stay at least 30 meters away from the sea line. I didn't bring a tape measure with me, but it sounds to me like when the tide's in, you might as well just remain in the car. So that was fun. And then it was on to the next place. My parents did this as a one-day tour and they stopped off at a glacier before turning back. We, however, did the 2-day tour. So for us, it was off to this monstrosity, which is so bright that even Google Maps doesn't know what to do with it. Find out what happens in my next video.